So I called my dad after that and I said, Dad, I want to start speaking. And he says, I just want to make sure this is your decision. You're not doing this because you think I want you to. I said, no, I really feel like this is what I've been called to do. I grew up with these principles. I know them like the back of my hand. I've been in toxic environments where people need positive leadership now more than ever. I want to do this work. I want to travel and I want to speak. And he said, okay, let's do it. So I quit my job after a month because I still was initially fearful. I was still kind of allowing that fear to hold me back. But eventually I said, I just need to go for it. I'm not going to allow this to stop me from what I've been called to do. And so I go live with my parents for about a month to just start learning how to speak, interacting with people. I went there and I spoke to my old girls lacrosse team. I spoke to a youth group while I was there. But it wasn't until my dad said, hey, I'm going to Clemson to speak to the baseball team. I want you to come with me. And I said, all right, we both love sports. That's how we bond. I went to Clemson. So we go. And it wasn't until an hour before he was about to speak to the baseball team that he sprung it on me and said, Jade, I want you to talk to the team right before I speak. I was like, what? No, I've only spoken twice before, and it was to small groups. These are guys. Maybe they're going to judge me and say, what does this 24-year-old girl know about anything? We're not going to listen to her. What if they compare me to my dad? I had really bad imposter syndrome of, this is my dad's thing. I don't know if I should even do this. But he said, just tell them a story, a principle, and how they can apply it. And so I got up in front of them, and I realized I need to teach them the principle of talking to yourself versus listening to yourself, because that's what I need to do right now. I was listening to all the fear, all the doubt, all the reasons why I shouldn't do it. But when I was talking to myself and fueling myself with those words of encouragement on why I just needed to go for it and to just share something with them, I got up there and I shared that with them. And from that moment on, I've been speaking ever since. I've been speaking to companies, schools, working with teens to help the next generation because I know they struggle so much with confidence. And oftentimes we tell people, hey, go lead, but we don't give them the tools to do it.
So my question to you is, how many people are willing to do the things to help your team, your culture, and the people around you to be their best, even if you don't get recognition? Even if the only people are the ones in your community that know your role, right? How many Brian Hoyers do you have on your team? How many Brian Hoyers are helping to make your culture great, even if people don't know, right? So that's the whole point of culture. People a lot of times think, well, I'm not really a leader. I don't have a title. I'm not the boss. I can't really set the tone. But every single person contributes to the culture, no matter what. So when that thought comes into your head, say, no, I'm going to be a Brian Hoyer. I'm going to step up to help everyone around me be better, right? Positivity doesn't just make me better. It makes everyone around me better. And Wolf, the man, goes to the village to speak to the wise men. And he says, I feel like I have two dogs inside of me. This happy, positive, optimistic dog and this negative, pessimistic dog. And all they do is fight. And I never know which one's going to win. And the wise man thinks for a second. He says, I know which one's going to win, the one you feed the most. So if you're feeding yourself with those negative thoughts and putting those negative thoughts into your head, that dog is going to continue to grow and it's going to win. But if you're fueling yourself with that positivity, that positive dog will grow inside of you. And so I want to share with you some of the best advice I've ever heard. It came from a man named Dr. James Gills. He's the only person on the planet to have completed 6 double Ironman triathlons. If you don't know what an Ironman is, or a double Ironman, you do an Ironman one day, you go to sleep, you wake up the next morning, and you do another one. So you're biking, running, and swimming. People asked him, how did you do this? Because the last time he did it, he was 59 years old. That just blows my mind, because I couldn't even do that now at 24. And he says, I learned to talk to myself instead of listen to myself. When I listen to myself, I hear all the negativity, the fear, the doubt, all the reasons why I can't finish this race. But if I talk to myself, I can fuel myself with words of encouragement to help me to cross that finish line, right? So how often do we have negative thoughts that come in that tell us that we're not good enough, that we can't do this, that somebody else might be better than us? But what if we talked to ourselves and said, no, I'm in this position for a reason. I was given this job because I work hard. because I was destined to do this, right? Talking to ourselves in a positive way to fuel ourselves with that optimism, positivity, and belief so that we can do those things. So the next thing is that positive leaders, they lead with a vision. So when I talk about vision, I like to tell people to think about a telescope and a microscope. So when I say telescope, your telescope is your big picture vision of where you want to go and why you want to go there. And your microscope are your zoom focus actions that you're going to take each day to achieve that goal. And it's really important to have both your telescope and your microscope, because if I have a dream, right, I have a vision, I see it and I want to create it, but I'm not doing the little things every single day to achieve that goal, it's probably not going to happen, right? And on the other side of that, if I'm doing these little things every single day, but I'm forgetting why I'm doing it, I'm probably going to get burned out, right? So we need to make sure we have both our telescope and our microscope. So
we want to make sure we're dealing with that negativity. And like I talked about earlier, people complain a lot of times because they feel powerless, right? Sometimes they don't feel heard. Sometimes they just complain because it becomes a habit. So we want to make sure that we're not complaining. And the way that we can do that is limit our mindless complaining with the no complaining rule. So my dad wrote a book called the No Complaining Rule. And it says that if you are going to complain, because again, you take challenges and turn them into opportunities, sometimes you have valid complaints, but we want to limit